Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the world's most exciting classroom. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. Welcome to the second of our shorter summer versions, summer school, I guess you could say, of the world's most exciting classroom. Many classrooms in Canada, the US, other places in Central and South America, the UK are off for summer vacation. So they will be enjoying some time in the sun. And then they'll be coming back to us in September. But since the ship is still traveling around the world, we're still have great people on board, great experiments and things happening. We're going to keep the Explorers Classroom or the World's Most Exciting Classroom going, but with our little kind of 30-minute hybrid events. So we're going to have guest speakers join us. We'll have live uplinks to the ship whenever we can. We've always got great video content coming. The Darwin leaders are going to join us over the next few weeks. So there'll be lots of good stuff over the summer as we work our way back towards our full hour events, which will start again in September. So what have we been up to since last week? Let me share my screen and let's take a look at where the Oosterschelde is right now. So here we go. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see Pitcairn, where we got pretty lucky and were able to stop and spend a couple of days. Since then, we have made our way to Mangareva. I think we connected with the team right around here. They were about a day away when we connected with them. And then we've got a few little updates here, like this video clip here. There we go. So Tom had mentioned when I talked to him earlier that they didn't have any drone footage of the arrival because the weather was rough. And you can see from that video, he wasn't kidding around. That would not have been fun weather to try and fly the drone in. So things are going pretty well, I think. We've got a couple research projects on the go. We'll meet Maria soon, hopefully next week. Maria's doing some great work getting into the water and doing coral transects for us. She'll do those again in Papeete when we arrive. And then, of course, we still have Jut in the field as well. This is the third area where he's doing some sampling of invertebrates, exploring those cave environments. Let's bring Tom and Jut in with us right now. Here we go. Hey, Tom. Hey, Jut. How are you?
Oh, all good.
Yeah,
Hello.
good. How, I guess we talked to you about a day before you arrived. So you're there now. How's Mangareva?
Mangareva is amazing. It's been a wonderful experience. Today is our last day of field work. Let's see. This past week we started. What was it on the 30th? On the 30th of June, we have worked on 3 different islands, and we sampled caves on 2 of those islands. We sampled natural vegetation on the mountain, Mount Makoto, and a few other places too. Oh my goodness! We got marine crickets. We found, which
Nice.
No idea whether or not it's a new species. That will be determined once we get those critters back and can analyze them. But it was neat. We were very surprised in that we were very surprised in that we were able to catch them.
Yeah.
They're ridiculously fast. Tom and I ultimately concocted this plan to funnel them downslope into these pools, and then we would catch them in the pools where it was a little easier to catch them. A little easier.
Still very difficult, but
yeah. But we got like 16 of them, I think. So
wow.
should we have? Pretty darn certain that we have adults in that mix. So most likely we will indeed be able to describe them or identify them if they're already known species. That was right now. That was perhaps one of the biggest highlights of the work to date. We also found, we sampled cave habitats. The caves here are pretty small, about 10-ish meters in length on average. And what we did find was we went to the very backs of the caves where there was water dripping, and we sampled those habitats.
Yep.
And the hope was, because the way that caves operate, in terms of animals that are adapted to the subterranean environment, they're not cave adapted per se. They're adapted to the underground habitat, and that underground habitat can be characterized as everything from these tiny cracks and crevices that we can't get into, but the bugs can.
Yeah.
So that's what we were doing. We're going to the back of the cave where there was where there was water, and the idea being, okay, we sample these areas. Maybe this presents a habitat similar to the deeper subterranean habitats that these subterranean adapted animals will occur in. And perhaps if we're lucky, we might be able to collect animals that are at that interface. So we sampled those areas. We right now that is inconclusive as to whether or not we have collected anything adapted to the subterranean realm. I guess stay tuned. That's really the best I could say at this point.
How many samples were you able to collect?
Oh, good Lord, I have no idea. For example, from Pitcairn, we collected in 2 days. We have nearly 200 samples.
Yeah.
We collected 6 days, so heck, let's just probably over 1,000. I have no idea. I won't know until. Well, I'll know tomorrow because I'm going to be going through my field forms and tallying everything, because I need to have that information ready when I go through customs on Sunday.
All right. And most importantly, it seems like the ethanol held out. I know we were rushing around to find some in the Galapagos and figure everything else. It sounds like you made it.
Yeah. We had plenty of ethanol, and we even had ethanol.
Perfect. All right. Well, I want to share a few pictures here. Tom, feel free to comment on any of the photos as well, because I'm assuming you were the one behind the scenes taking a lot of those photos. So let's share a few of them here. Like here, we've got the Explorers Club flag on Mangareva. And Tom, we got you in that one. And who is that? Your guide, Jut?
Yeah, that is Barry Mamatui. He's a naturalist on the island, and he has been taking care of us for the past week.
Perfect. And then I can see you're not too deep in, but you definitely found some of those enclosed spaces.
Yes, that's that. You can see, I think, what you have here on the edge, the bottom left corner of the screen. That might even be vegetation.
Yeah, I think it is from the outside.
Yeah, so that gives you an idea of just how shallow these features are.
Yeah.
This is on Mangareva, one of the outer islands, one of the smaller ones.
Yeah, so you were able to get your hands on a boat and visit a few islands then?
Yes.
Great.
That's me looking very sciencey.
Yeah, obviously. Very cool. Collecting some specimens there.
Oh, that's us cricket hunting.
Oh, that's so cool that you caught some. And then I guess you could probably look at them, kind of compare them between the Rapa Nui species as well.
Exactly. And I wish I could say we could compare them between the Pitcairn species, but those suckers were way too fast.
Oh, darn.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Looks like there's some other wildlife as well.
That was the most interesting event that occurred on this trip. We arrived at this island, and as we were arriving, the dogs showed up. And the dogs came to greet us. And then all the pigs came out of the forest to come to greet us. And then all the chickens came out of the forest to come to greet us. So we had this menagerie of animals greeting us at the water's edge. And I don't know if there's any pictures, but the pigs actually came into the water to greet us at the boat as we were arriving. So it was neat. It really was.
That's cool. I've heard about them doing that in the Bahamas, but I didn't realize they did it all the way out in the Pacific. That's pretty cool.
Very surprised.
And then looks like a spider species here.
Yes, and I don't know what that is yet. I haven't had a chance to walk it through a key or compare it to other photographs. But if you look closely, you will see this is a female, and I believe this is the image where she has an egg sac that she's hanging on to. You can see the periphery. Yeah. Right behind her cephalothorax and her abdomen, you can see that there's a little white area, and that's she was protecting her eggs. And I was sampling below her the whole time, and she didn't care as long as I didn't touch her and her eggs.
Looks like another species there.
That is a fulsid, and I will need to double check, but that could very well be. Well, I think it is one of the species that we have from Rapa Nui. It is of the family Fulcidae. And oddly and curiously enough, the fulcid spiders are the most venomous spiders in North America, and at the same time, they are the most common in households. And if you look up in the corners of your house, or in barns and other structures, you will see these very kind of messy webs.
Yeah.
And you will see very tiny. You will see these spiders with very spindly legs, and that is these animals here. They are highly venomous, but they are so tiny and they have such tiny mouth parts that they pose no threat to humans.
All right. Well, I'm
So
going to come
please,
back.
don't kill them.
All right. I'm going to come back from that screen share. Tom, you sent me a few drone videos. I know you weren't able to do anything upon arrival or during arrival, but let's play some of the clips that you've taken so far. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about, the ecosystem and where you are, what it looks like there. So let me just load up a couple. Let's start with this one first.
Oh, wow, that's great.
This is the coast of Mangareva, and you can clearly see like the coral reef stretching right up to the coast, which is pretty amazing. And this was actually the channel that the captain had to navigate through to get into the harbour of Mangareva, which was very impressive.
Oh, and you guys are right up on the shore this time, not at anchor?
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to be on ground.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, that's beautiful. Have you been in the water, Tom? Have you been doing any diving or snorkeling?
Not yet, but we're actually going to go today. I'm joining Maria today to do the coral transects on a pearl farm.
Oh, beautiful. Definitely send us some footage after you get some of that.
Absolutely. This is our little boat that we were visiting the other islands with. Looks
nice and seaworthy.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a shock seeing this tiny little boat the first time we got on it, seeing as we were crossing between the islands, but it held up okay.
Very cool.
The boat, the model of the boat was called a Rampage, and it definitely held up to its name. It was a beast on the water.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I've got one more little clip here. I think it might be vertical. You think it's the same? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that looks absolutely beautiful. I'm so glad Maria's there and all set up. And how many days do you think you guys will spend in the water?
I think it's a bit hit or miss because of the weather, but we're at least going to get in today, and if the weather holds out, we'll hopefully jump in again.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm so glad we were able to connect. I wasn't sure if we would be able to today, but it's really good to see both of you. Jut, I'm so glad everything's worked out. It's obviously a big... Oh. Is that Maria?
Maria!
Hello.
Hey, Maria. How are you?
I'm good. I'm preparing to go diving. We found tanks on the island, and Tom and I are going to go to the other side and dive around the pearl farm later on. So we're really excited. We found an area where we have 5 pearl farms, but it also looks like it's really deep water and good coral. So very excited to get started on the coral transect out there.
Well, Maria, we are going to talk to you more from the ship next week, because I think you guys will be sailing. But why don't you introduce yourself before we let you guys go today?
Absolutely. Well, my name is Maria, and I am from Denmark, Copenhagen, and I am a professional diver. I work all over the world doing sampling and diving in general on reefs and in caves, and I'm out here to do coral transect through some of the trips here in French Polynesia. So we will be doing transects here in Mangareva, and then again when the ship arrives in Tahiti, we're going to be flying around to actually some of the most shark filled waters out here. It's going to be incredible, which is a very good thing because sharks means a healthy ecosystem. So that transect I'm really excited about. So that's me, and I can't wait to tune in next week and talk more to you guys about the corals and the effect that it has on the people that lives out here as well, because it's very connected to the oceans, these Pacific Islanders.
All right. Well, it's great to see you out there on Mangareva. I'm so excited that you guys found some tanks and you're going to be able to get in the water today. And who knows, maybe you can even sneak out again. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I hope so. But that story of getting the tanks, even that is a mission in itself and worth telling.
We're going to have to get an update on that in next week's event. We'll have to get the full story of the transects.
Absolutely. Looking forward.
All right. Well, Tom, Jut, Maria, thank you so much. Enjoy your time out there. Jut, I know your time's coming to an end, but your work's just getting started. You're going to be pretty busy when you get back.
Exactly. Yeah. Looking forward to getting into the lab and processing these specimens, and more than happy to discuss further.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of the day. It's good to see you.
All right.
See ya.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
See ya. All right. Very cool. That was nice. We not only did we get to connect, looks like they have some nice weather out there. We got a great update on their time in the field, and I'm really excited to see that Maria's out there, and we'll be doing some more coral transect work. We did some in Fernando de Noronha, and then we kind of went through a big section of the ship or of the trip around South America where there just wasn't a lot of coral. So that project was kind of put on hold. But now that we're in Mangareva, Tahiti's coming next. We'll hit Fiji and Cook Islands and Tonga. So hopefully we will be able to do more coral transect work and piece together some more parts of that research project. Okay, so some of you may know, I hope everybody knows by now, that we have incredible Darwin leaders who join us in each of the ports where we make a stop. So there are youth from all over the world. Their youth have already shown a passion or an excitement for conservation. Maybe they've started tree planting campaigns. Maybe they have their own organization. Some spark, something has them pulled into the conservation world. We bring them out to work with local conservation organizations, creating videos and media, and hopefully gaining some experience to help them in their future conservation career. So it's been a while since we've had a Darwin leader jump in with us. And over the next few weeks, we will have probably about a dozen more join us as we race towards September. So today, joining us from Brazil, we have Thiago Cardozo joining us. I'm going to bring him in front and center. There we go.
Hey, Joe.
How are you?
Everything's fine here. What about you?
Yeah, it's great to have you with us. I watched your video this morning, so I feel like I got to know you a little bit. But why don't you tell those tuning in a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself for us.
So my name is Thiago. I'm from Brazil. I actually born in Amazon North, but now I live in South in Florianópolis, where I study marine biology, actually biology in general, but I work with marine biology and diving. So my lab, it's about octopus and scientific diving. So we use those methods to study the animals on the field. So no necessity to take the animal from the nature and bring into a lab and do experiments. We try to do some more less impact in the studies. And so I'm passionate to diving, to explore the ocean. And yeah, basically it's this.
All right. And so, I mean, things couldn't have worked out better with your project. Obviously a marine project, but also a project that dealt with octopuses. So that worked out pretty well for you. We're going to play your video in a minute, so I don't want to give away too much, but maybe just set the stage for us. Tell us a little bit about, what your time in the field was like.
Okay. So we got in Peru, and actually I don't know anything about the project, about what's the research exactly. But so we arrive in Ancon. It's not exactly in Callao, because Callao is like port in Lima. Ancon, it's some kilometers for north. And then in Ancon, we got to the ship and started to do some field work, understand the fisheries about the Octopus mimus. That's the species that occurs in Peru and Chile. And we tried to understand how did they call the sustainable fishing in Peru. And we tried to understand how it's sustainable, which metrics, which type of sustainability they think about, and how they management the species, how the government create laws or rules. And then we discovered that the fishers, they organize themselves to manage this. So they self-sustainable. They have this local leaders, and the organization it's called Marisqueiros de Ancon. And the most kind of exciting thing about it's the type of diving that they do. It's very dangerous, actually. It's very complicated, but it got us shocked because we don't know anything. And then we just got there and discovered that they use the air compressor to dive. And It's a type of diving that is very dangerous because you can harm yourself underwater, because you're connected by a like a hope, like a tube to breathe from the boat, and then you're kind of free underwater, but you have no measurement of time, of depth, so it can be very dangerous. And then we understand a little about what they know about diving, about the safety. So connect everything, the diving, the fishery. And in this first episode, we focus on the diving technique because it's kind of more adventurous. But the next episodes, we're trying to focus on the sustainability and the other stuff like the octopus itself. And so
yeah, I think we should definitely play the video now, because you did a good job describing the diving system, but until you see it for yourself, you don't really know how kind of risky it is. So I've been diving a long time, and I don't know if I'd ever want to go and use that system. But let's take a look, because I like this video because you don't hear a lot about fisheries and sustainability. That doesn't always go hand in hand, but I think, you know, they're kind of working out a system here that's benefiting both the fishing community as well as the natural community. So let's take a look at this first video.
In the afro depths of Uncle Bay, located in the Peruvian coast, a fellowship of divers known as marisqueros braves the water abysses. Their quest are not for treasure, but for life itself. With every plunge, they harvest the bounty of the ocean floors, snails, crabs, and the octopus. In the downlight, our journey takes us to the rugged shores of Isla Grande, a sacred ground for the wildlife and to the local fishers, to meet Rogerio, a master local diver, to introduce us to his life.
Yo, a la edad de 19 años, ingresé al cuartel y de ahí aprendí a bucear. Me enseñaron los instructores del ejército, y cuando salí a la vida civil ya me dediqué al buceo con compresora. Allá es con bibotellas, o sea, con botellas a la espalda. Me enseñaron más que todo a hacer poner dinamita bajo el agua. Lo preparan a uno para la guerra. Pero ya en la vida civil ya me dediqué a la extracción de mariscos, a los productos hidrobiológicos. Sí, es riesgoso. Más que todo cuando es hondo. Hay que saberse descompresionar, hay que subir despacio. Por ejemplo, yo me malogré la pierna por la descompresión. A mí me dio descompresión, por eso que cogí un poco. A mí me dio la descompresión hace como 30 años atrás, por meterme al hondo. O sea, cuando uno bucea pasado de las 10 brazadas, ya uno tiene que subir despacito ya. ¿Para qué? Para que las burbujas, o sea, cuando uno baja, el cuerpo se comprime, ¿no es cierto? Entonces uno tiene que subir despacio para que vayan normalizando los pulmones, más que todo. Y las burbujas que han entrado al cuerpo, se vayan saliendo. Si uno sube de golpe, ahí es el problema. Le puede dar embolia, o le puede dar ataque al corazón, o se puede quedar uno inválido. Por eso uno tiene que subir despacio. Pero cuando el agua está caliente, por ejemplo, en las hormigas es una isla que está a 7 horas de acá. Ahí sí el pulpo, cuando está caliente el agua, se pone al hondo, a 18 brazadas, 17 brazadas. Por eso es que varios se han descompresionado. Sí, gracias a Dios, con este trabajo he podido yo mantener a mi familia y educar a mis hijos. Yo agradezco mucho el haber aprendido a hacer buceo. Hay varios factores. Uno, que a veces por el hecho de ganar plata, ellos aprenden un poco y ¡boom!, se mandan nomás. Y la inexperiencia les hace cometer errores en el buceo, y algunos hasta han muerto, porque les ha dado la descompresión. Y hay otros que que a veces la compresora ¿cómo le digo? Desperfecto mecánico ya. Por ejemplo, la compresora se malogra, los tripulantes por querer prenderlo y no jalarlo al buzo, y ese tiempo que está perdiendo, él está sufriendo bajo el agua. O sea, son accidentes que muy pocas veces pasan, pero a veces sucede también. El pulpo ha regresado después de varios años, porque no había pulpo. Ha demorado bastante desde la corriente del Niño, que hubo en el 80 y tanto, hasta ahorita, recién ahorita todo el litoral tiene pulpo.
Here, between the symphony of crashing waves and rustling foliage, a thriving ecosystem teems with life. From delicate sea stars to elusive crustaceans and majestic mollusks. But in this realm of shadows and secrets, danger lurks in every shadow.
Octopus mimus es el recurso que está aquí en Ancón. Puede medir hasta 1 metro de largo y pesar hasta 4 kilos. El peso mínimo de extracción es de 1 kilo y tenemos variedad de machos y de hembras. En este caso, la diferencia entre macho y hembras es por el ectocotilo, que es el tercer par de brazos derecho, y que se diferencia porque también no tiene tentáculos en la última parte, tiene una lígula, que es un poco más dura por donde ellos expulsan el líquido seminal y lo introducen dentro de la hembra, ¿no? Este es el proceso de reproducción de ellos y pueden copular. Ellos se encuentran mayormente en las zonas peñosas, en las islas. Acá en Ancón se encuentran en islas como La Hormiguilla, Isla Grande. Ellos se encuentran en nidos o en huecos rocosos. Aquí los pescadores diferencian las hembras de los machos porque usualmente las hembras están metidas en la zona centro de Ancón, zona centro de Perú. Y en Ancón ahorita estamos con mucha abundancia de este recurso.
Yo por eso mucho les agradezco a los señores de la ONG. Ya ellos nos orientaron, nos instruyeron, porque nosotros también depredamos, hay que ser honestos. Y nos cambiaron la mentalidad de hacer pesca responsable. Y desde ahí nosotros hemos empezado a trabajar de esta manera ya. Ahí en el muelle, por ejemplo, tenemos nuestros topes, son más que 90 kilos un buzo y 100 kilos 2 buzos.
In this precarious world beneath the waves, every breath is a battle, every movement a gamble with fate. And yet, with all the danger and uncertainty, the marisqueros persist with their indomitable spirit and enduring bond between humanity and the sea. However, the octopus path is just in the beginning. I'm Thiago Cardozo. I'm a Darwin leader from Brazil, here in Ancón, and I will be your guide in this adventure.
All right, Thiago, that is a great starter video. Really kind of framed the issues, right? We met that diver at the beginning. He talked about how years ago the octopus had disappeared, but through kind of better management, now seems like they have more of a thriving population that can handle fishing in the right amount, removal in the right amount.
Yes, they started to notice that the octopus started to disappear in some periods because they have a lot of influences of El Nino, La Nina, and other changes in the weather and the climate. And now we're seeing that these changes are going way more intense with the last years.
Yep.
And we have COVID, we have the oil spill that happens in Peru, one of the worst of the history of Peru. So a lot of problems that affected the fishery. And then with the help of the NGOs, the Conciencia Marina, the Nature Conservancy, that's the NGOs that works there, they tried to help them to understand what was happening with the populations. And tried to do this management by themselves. Like they had the idea, and the NGOs brought the science to them to understand, like, scientifically why and when, and then together they made the rules, they do the monitorings. And so it's very important popular participation that happens there.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. It's too often, I think, scientists sometimes come in and just say, this is the way it has to be. They don't get to know the community. They don't talk to them. They don't learn about what's important to them. And this looks like it's a model that really worked, where the community feels like they're a part of, protecting what's important to them, their livelihoods.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, it's interesting because they already had the experience of lost the animal that they fish, so they already know how it feels to get out of their like what's sustainable their lives that they need to keep alive, to pay the children's school, to pay the food in the table. So they already know how can this impact the whole society that depends on the fishery.
Yeah.
So they had this aim to don't let it happen again, and with a point that there is no return. So
yeah. Well, that form of diving using the compressor and the hose, did you get to see it in action? How long will they stay under while they're fishing?
So that's the best part of the backstage of the documentary. We got to Isla Grande with them. Rogelio, 9 years old and 40 of diving. So a lot of experience. Already had the compressive disease. That is a disease that you can have, as he explained, when you go or too deep or you stay a long time underwater, and the bubbles kind of in your blood dissolve it, and then when you go back, they turn to bubbles again, and then you can have a lot of problems in your body. And he had one leg that can swim properly because of this. You can see on the video he's swimming kind of like this with a leg stained, and we tried to follow the whole journey underwater, but we had no gear at the time. We got super quickly in Ancon, had no time to get scuba diving and equipment. So actually all the footage underwater was made with this. It's like a cell phone underwater box. And in free diving in my lungs, so the cold water, we have no wetsuit, nothing, just a lot of a dream and a lot of aim to got this footage. So we followed him as we are on the boat. Veronica was on the surface recording, and I got underwater, and then we got kind of 3 hours at the total in the place.
Yeah.
But each diving that Rogelio goes was around 15 to an hour, and he got 3 times on the water, then got the bag full of octopus, go back to the boat, put the bag there, and then go back. And the last time he just take a lot, not that much of octopus, because I think was close to the 9 kilos that they need to, is the limit for the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, around 3 hours in total, but each diving around an hour.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Good on you for, being put in a situation where you didn't have the right gear, but you still made it work. So the footage is great. What can we expect from the other 2 videos? Can you give us kind of just in like a minute or so, a little preview of what the other 2 videos cover?
So the next 2 episodes, we try to focus on the management and the sustainability, because actually we, in our planning was to put this diving episode in the middle, but it was the most shocking part. So we tried to we need to put on the first one to get the attention of people and understand the problem. So we put this on first, and then we try to focus on the sustainability management and explain. We got some interviews with the restaurant people. with the features on the market, put some footage too of the animals got into the market. And we try to show the chain, the value chain of the animal. And then in the last one, we got more scientific. We interviewed the TNC people. We interviewed the Consciencia Marina also again. And we got more about the issues that happened in the population and why the climate was changing the population and the other stuff like the COVID and the oil spill and etc. So the other two episodes are very beautiful too, less less adventured, but very important too, and with a lot of precious information to understand how it works, what is sustainability for each people in the chain, and how they see the sustainability, and maybe serve as a model that we can. Yeah, it's not perfect yet. We showed them some problems too that they had to resolve, as the treat if the animal you saw they throwing the octopus alive and stuff, because yeah, they don't have that conscience about the welfare of the animal and stuff. That's recent researches in the cephalopods welfare. But yeah, it's a process. They really want to get better and better in the sustainability fishery and maybe serve as a model to the world. And yeah, that's what you can wait for the next episodes. I hope you guys enjoy a lot this first one, and I hope you're going to like the others.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've been collecting the Darwin Leader videos. We have them edited, and I mean, all the Darwin Leaders did an incredible job. So I'm not sure how we're going to release them for sure, but I know that they are queued up and ready. So at some stage soon, I think we're going to release them onto the DARWIN200 YouTube channel. So everyone will get a chance to see the other two videos in the series. Thiago, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your time in Peru. You're the first leader we've had join us to share their Peruvian experience. And it looks like you had a great one that was really tied to the work that you're already doing. So I'm thrilled you were able to get involved, see that kind of, almost you would call it young sustainability, this new relationship just forming, and they're working things out, and hopefully it'll result in a sustainable fishery that'll help everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much, Joe, and everybody is watching.
All right. Well, it's great to meet you. We're going to sign off for now, but who knows? Maybe we'll snag you for another event somewhere down the line. We still have about a year of live classroom events coming up. So thanks.
Yeah, you can count on me every time.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank
Bye.
you. Okay, so there we go. This has turned out to be a fun little kind of world's most exciting classroom. We're over the 30 minutes, which if any of you have tuned in before, you know this is pretty usual for us. We say we're going to go for a certain amount of time, but then we have so much content. We always go much, much longer. It's great to see Tom and Maria and Jut in Mangareva. Next week, we'll connect with them on the ship. They'll be making their way to Papeete, and we'll get a full update from Maria and from Tom, and they can tell us all about the coral transects and how that went. And I want to hear that story about finding the scuba tanks, because apparently that's an adventure in itself. So we'll get that full story. So the last thing we need to do today is we have last week's Curiosity of the Week. We'll take a look at the answer, and then I'll bring in a brand new curiosity for us to think about this week. So bear with me for a moment while I share the next video. It should be coming up right now.
Welcome back, everyone. For last week's question, I asked you to try and identify this beautiful mineral. Could you guess what it is? If you remember, it has this really distinctive iridescent shine. Well, lots of you sent in answers, and quite a few of you got it correct. It's actually known as labradorite. It was first found at Labrador in Canada, and it has this incredible distinctive shine. Technically, it's a calcium-enriched feldspar mineral, and it's known from many places now around the world. I actually bought this particular piece in Madagascar. This beautiful iridescent effect, which is known as a schiller, results from the reflection of light within the structure of the mineral itself. And it's so distinctive that it's actually inspired its own word called labradorescence, which describes this particular type of iridescence because of the structure of this particular mineral. So if you guessed labradorite, you got this absolutely correct. This beautiful shimmering effect is usually blue or greenish in labradorite, but very rarely it can be yellow and orange or even reddish. And if I turn my specimen round, here on the back of it, you can see some slightly yellowy patterns and yellow colours as well. It's pretty cool. Did you guess correctly? Now let's go back to Joe.
All right, so there we go. There is our curiosity from last week. Really, really cool mineral from Madagascar. You never know what Stu's going to find in that Darwin studio. Speaking of the Darwin studio, Stu sent me a new video for this week. So let's take a look at this week's curiosity that we're going to have a week to try and puzzle over and figure out what it is.
Back everyone. This week's curiosity is this beautiful little plant here. If you look really carefully, the leaves of this plant are covered with sparkling droplets of a liquid. It's really sticky, it's a really gluey liquid if you look really carefully. The question for this week is, firstly, can you guess the name or the type of this beautiful little plant with these droplets of liquid on its leaves? And second of all, why do you think it has these droplets of sticky liquid all over its leaves that sparkle in the sun? What do you think they're for? Send in your answers to classroom@darwin200.com for a chance to win a £50 Amazon gift voucher prize. Good luck, and we'll find out the answers next week.
All right, so there we go. There's your challenge for this week. You have a week to think about what kind of plant that is. And not only what kind of plant it is, why does it have kind of those sticky little drops on its leaves? What are those for? How does that help the plant? So classroom@darwin200.com is where you want to send the answer. And we'll see how we do. We'll see if we get some correct guesses coming in over the course of the week. So that is it for this week, our shorter version of the world's most exciting classroom. Next week, we will be live from the ship as it sails towards Papeete. We'll have for sure Tom and Maria on board who can update us on the coral transects. Jut, from his time in the field, there's a beautiful video that was made on Rapa Nui. So we'll see how our timing is. We might be able to share that video next week and get a little more in-depth into his research. For now, though, a big shout out. Thank you so much for joining us this week, whether you joined us live or you're going to tune in afterwards to the recording. As always, we end the event the same way. We give a huge thank you, a huge shout out to our sponsors, to our partners, to our supporters, without whom we wouldn't be sailing around the world. We wouldn't be doing the research. We wouldn't have the Darwin leaders like Thiago, and we wouldn't be doing the world's most exciting classroom every week. So I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to play a little video to thank our sponsors and supporters, and we will see you again next week.